This is Total Spotfest. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We do appreciate it. JJ Brownlee, Jamie Faulkner coming at you with a very special review of AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view. So, Jamie, how have you been, man?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Enjoyed that Full Gear. That's all I gotta say about that. I can't wait to talk about it.
Full Gear's a goodie, yeah. So for those of you trying to catch up here, I know that we had said recently we're only doing weekly pay-per-views, and that's true, but we're going to do these pay-per-view specials. So we got lots to talk about, a ton of good stuff to go through on the pay-per-view. We're going to review everything. We're going to give you our thoughts, kind of dig into deep of it, and maybe most importantly, we got to talk about a title belt. Now, not one of the ones that might have been decided on the show, but one of the ones decided as per our competition for the show. So, yes, the AEW toy title, the Total Spotfest pay-per-view pick championship is on the line. Can I say somebody, but can I take it off of Megan? Megan Faulkner, the tyrant, the pseudo belt collector who doesn't watch very much wrestling other than AEW at all, but has has been solidly defeating us for years. I think he's only ever lost one AEW pay-per-view.
And that was to me. That was to me too. It's been in the Faulkner household.
He's only ever lost it once since we started doing this, before we even did the podcast. Like that's how embarrassing my plight is. But we got a shot here, so you can follow along, for those of you listening and watching, thank you for doing so. We do appreciate it. Follow along as well. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Give us a big like while you're down there. It helps us out. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast provider, go give that subscribe. You tweet us at Total Spotfest on Twitter. You can follow us along on our website, www.totalspotfest.com. All the plugs here. There you go. All right. Just want to get those out of the way. So you're gonna see right here we have our pay-per-view record, and as I was just proclaiming there, one person has a very good record, a winning record, and two people do not, and one person has a really bad record. Even though he probably watches the most wrestling of anybody because he has no children or wife, and this is his life, right?
Yes.
Karma. So you want to start off by, we're going to run down our picks, right, Jamie?
Yes, I figured that would probably be the best way to start, to make sure everybody understands where we were, our thought process, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So you got the card and you got our little document in front of you there. Roger, run down and give what our picks were.
Yes. So for the very first match of the night, which was the buy-in, we had Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose versus why am I blanking all of a sudden? Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida.
Do you not have the sheet in front of you there?
It just was not coming up.
You're having trouble reading. I get it. I understand.
It was like taking forever to load. I'm like, come on, I just had you up. So in that match, all of us went with Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida. Okay, so we'll get into who was right there. So the next match was Darby Allin, MJF, and I was the only one who went different on this. Megan and JJ both went MJF. I went Darby, just because of how things were ended, and I just had this feeling. We'll find out if I was right or wrong, which if you've watched, you know where I was. Then after that, we have the tag team titles, Lucha Bros versus FTR. All of us thought Lucha Bros were going to win that one. The Eliminator Tournament Finals for the number one contender spot for the AEW World Championship of Miro versus Bryan Danielson. The only person that was different was JJ. Both the FWO members picked Bryan Danielson, and JJ picked Miro. Was it going to be Miro's day? Who knows? And then
I see what you did there. All right, I see you.
Then after that, we have Jurassic Express with Christian Cage versus the Superkliq of the Young Bucks and one Adam Cole Bay. And all three of us picked the Superkliq, which I figured one of us might not, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. After that, Cody Rhodes and Pac versus Malakai Black and Andrade El Idolo. Once again, the FWO picked Codelander and Pac, and JJ picked Andrade and Malakai Black.
I want to pause you right here because moving forward, Jamie's going to finish the card for you. But spoiler, we all chose the same picks for the last 4 matches. So there's 3 distinct possibilities because there's 3 different matches where we differ. And because of the differences between Jamie and Megan, those 3 matches are going to determine everything as whether we go to some form of tie or it comes down to me and Megan. It can't really come down to me and Jamie. It would have to be a tie for us to get there, a multiple person tie.
Yeah.
But just want to throw that out at you. And if you've already watched the show, you can deduct, you can figure it out. Just bear with us, okay? Trust me.
Yeah, and Megan and I were only different on 1. So that was the big thing.
Really?
We were only different on 1, and that was the MJF Darby Allin match.
Exactly.
But you and I were different on 3 or 4. No, 3.
We were different on 2.
No.
On 3.
On 3.
Yeah, we were different on 3. I was different with Megan on 2.
That's correct. So we figure out pretty quick who wins. But after this, Tay Conti versus Britt Baker, DMD, and we all pick Britt. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston, we all picked CM Punk. Inner Circle versus Man of the Year and American Top Team, we all picked Inner Circle. And then for the championship match, we all picked Adam Hangman Page. So those are the picks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's figure out who is the winner.
We did have a tiebreaker, and I will discuss that later on. So let's reset the count up here. We're going to start all at 0. Fresh on the board. Let's go. Let's see what we happen. So Full Gear starts. Buy-in. FYI, Lucha Report Live sucks. If you guys did not watch the show, I hate Lucha Report Live so much.
I had no problems.
I had no problem, except I got double charged and had to sit for an hour on the phone to get a refund, which ended up being that like, oh, you need to send an email with your proof of with screenshots of your things. It's like, I finally got you on the goddamn line. Can't I give you these 2 order numbers and you go click and refund the one back to me? They're like, no, I'm sorry. You have to send in. We need to have screenshots of both of the. Why don't you have that listed somewhere on your goddamn website? Which I definitely scoured while I was sitting there waiting on hold for an hour before the fucking show.
Ouch.
So,
I ordered mine through Amazon because I have a Fire TV. So literally, I just did it, and it does an Amazon purchase. Boop, done. It was easy.
And it went in through
Amazon.
Bleacher Report. Yeah. So you watch it through Amazon Prime or watch it through the Bleacher Report?
The Bleacher Report app on my Fire Stick.
Those are the apps. See, I went through the website because I was feeling a little bit under the weather on Saturday. I had my booster shot on Friday. So I was a little bit. I wasn't sick. I didn't hit me hard, but I had a little bit of the grogginess, right? A little bit of heat, a little bit of a fever and whatever, and chills. And so I just looked like, so I was just sitting in my office the whole time. So I also did it on the website, easy peasy, right? No, it was not. It was easy enough. You just charge a bit. Anyway, enough of me bitching.
Yeah.
So
let's get to the show.
The buy-in starts off. So this is, as he says, Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter. They're pairing up everybody who's going to be in the second round. So this is half of the second round or the quarterfinals of the TBS tournament champion. The other ones are, of course, Jade Cargill and Red Velvet, and Chris Chandler versus Ruby Soho, Ruby. So, yeah, pretty good way to start the match. I mean, this is a way. They got 2 women's matches in by utilizing the buy. I still would like to see them. I think once we actually get a TBS champion, I think we're going to be able to sustain separate storylines, and that has really been, I think, the crux of our cry for, because we've both agreed that they have the depths now with the ad people that they have and people that have started to develop. And Jade Cargill's still not the most polished, but she's getting over in her form as she is with Smart Mark Sterling, bringing in Ruby. Hey Ruby, And others, I think that they're actually now to a point where they have the roster to do it. I just think they need to have lanes for them to be in. And more or less, having that TBS title is going to give them that opportunity. But regardless, still on the buy-in with the second women's match. It was a good match. It was good fun.
It was.
Jamie, Rosa and Shida ended up getting the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also on the buy-in, so we all get a point there, easy peasy. Also on the buy-in, something that was interesting. So they had an interview with Dante Martin, who was interrupted by the Acclaim, and they're doing this whole big shtick about everybody's asking him to join their stable of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Like they kept going up because Taz is in a skybox with Team Taz, and they're scouting, taking notes on all these stuff, and it's like,
I'm sorry, it was so dumb.
I'm so, we complained months ago about too many factions, right? Question mark in AEW, but it seems like they've let a lot of the factions kind of be back, back burner storylines. Inner Circle gets together when they need to, but they do their own thing separately, right? Same thing with Pinnacle. Dark Order is just kind of the Dark Order, Superkliq is its own entity in and of itself, but everybody still is kind of functioning as, so they're not really being faction dependent as much as they were maybe a year ago, with everything going on in the pandemic. I don't know why they keep doing this Team Taz. Team Taz is just more frustrating than anything else.
I agree.
So
totally agree.
That was the other bit they had on the buy-in. What do you have any thoughts of this match?
So this match was the start of many homages to one Eddie Guerrero. So this show was on the anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's death. It has been a long time, 16 years, I think that was the date.
Yeah, it's 2005 is when he passed, so 16 years.
16 years, and I would not hesitate to say out of the 10 total matches, 8 of them had some kind of homage to one Eddie Guerrero. This one started off with Nyla Rose doing the shoulder shimmy and doing a big-ass frog splash, which was amazing.
I couldn't believe her getting that frog splash off, not going to lie, because she's not a high flyer. So.
She is not a high flyer, but that thing looked damn impressive, and she needs to put it in her repertoire. Just saying. She's a big behemoth. That sounds terrible. I'm not saying she's fat, but you know what I'm saying? She's just big compared to everybody else, and hitting a frog splash, that could be a new finisher for her. A secondary finisher, if you will.
I think it's better that, I like the only other thing she does, she has that top rope knee strike when this person is draped over the rope, which is fine and all, but frog splash is great.
She needs that all the time.
I think that could be a better move to take too, because I don't think you have as much, because with the knee thing, if you're off by a few inches here or there, it could be really bad, right?
Knees on the temple.
Frog splash has got a lot of weight coming down, but because of the way the ring is, they can brace for it in a better, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, this match had a lot of good things. It did feel a little discombobulated in the beginning, but they got figured out pretty quick. It was just a fun match. It really was. I love seeing Hikaru Shida. I love the pink in her hair. She looked great. Thunder Rosa always brings it and always looks great. Jamie Hayter, she has, we talked about before, she has her stardom hair again, which I actually...
The rogue hair.
Yeah, I liked her better as a full blonde, but this is kind of grown on me because I'm seeing it more.
I just don't like the rogue hair as much. And my best friend's wife, back when we were in college, when I first met her, because it was back in the 99, 2000, right? She had the rogue hair, because that was back then, right? I don't know. Ever since then, it's just it seems weird. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good in this match, but again, I think it is a good warm up for the rest, because after this match, it goes apeshit real quick.
Right. Well, it's and the crowd was fully in. They were there for the buy-in, which is great, and it definitely gives you that right build. Now, we're going to make a lot of comparisons to All Out, not just because we were at All Out this past year, but for a very important reason, which you're going to quickly realize once we get to the end of this here. So the All Out had a very similar sort of tone to it, where their buy-in was was it Jurassic Express versus Team whatever. It's a similar sort of multi-person match, but it's the same sort of building crescendo, because that Tony likes to start hot.
Yeah. And so the next match actually was a little bit of an odd choice when I first saw it. I'm like, this just seems like that doesn't fit right here. I felt like that was more of a middle, and that is MJF versus Darby Allin. That's the initial match, and holy shit, match of the night contender. If it wasn't for the main event, this had match of the night written all over it.
I mean, I have another match that I put up there as well, but this card is loaded. But this match was so much better than I could have hoped for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because
it was, and I had high hopes anyway.
I love MJF. I think he's a great wrestler, but I don't think he's that let's start him off hot, ladies and gentlemen, wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have that pizzazz in the ring, if you will. He's got on the mic, but he showed it. Like, he has made me a full believer in him. Darby Allin was probably Darby Allin's best match I've ever seen him wrestle on AEW, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. So anyway, this match of the night contender. It's not, but it was a contender. And MJF actually ends up getting the win. And it was great. Like, we had so many reversals, so many little things. It was just magnifique.
I mean, I wrote down here, it was Darby Allin's best wrestling underline match.
100%.
And it was. He still did flippy spinny shit and high stuff, right? And they were, I mean, their storytelling was great. The build up for it we loved, first of all, but there was so much emotion on this. It gives you all that good hope. The 4-pillar stick that was, we talked about, and then now they're talking about, which I feel like we should trademark that. No, I'm kidding. But I feel like things like this are things that warrant it, that prove it, that you're like, see, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. So, because bring it.
One of my favorite things about this whole match, the whole thing, was MJF on Wednesday's Dynamite said he could beat Darby Allin with a headlock takeover. Side headlock takeover. And how does he win? He punches him in the face with the ring and does a side headlock takeover for the win. Storytelling. And that was so I will have to say this about this match. Like, I want to say this was not a wrestling match.
Jamie doesn't get a point, by the way. Me and Megan get points.
Oh, yes. So, I don't get a point. I lost this one, and I'm okay that I lost this one, which basically damn near eliminates me. But this was art. This match was art. It was not a match. It was art. It was just something about it that I can't talk about. Like, it will go down as a monumental moment for both these wrestlers as pillars.
This is one of those matches that WWE, even up until about 4 years ago, would still put on every once in a while, right? One of those that make you, this is for the love of wrestling sort of thing, right? It's got a good story behind it. Maybe it doesn't have the biggest build up, these two particularly. It's only been a few months they've been doing this feud here, but it fits. But it's just one of those matches that make you go, damn, that's why I love wrestling. Because you get wrestling, but you get so much more with the emotion, the storytelling. MJF staying in character and going dirty, right?
Yeah.
And they don't actually get any interference or anything crazy. Wardlow tries to come out, but then Sting stops him. So it keeps it between MJF and Darby, which, let's be honest, if there had been any funny business from the outside, that would have diminished this immediately. Because as good as it was, that's when you're, some of these matches here, you can put it in there, it's fine. But this, you wanted to actually see, because they talk about being a better wrestler for weeks. So let's see who's a better wrestler. And of course, MJF does MJF things, but yeah.
So, I mean, this will automatically make this feud not end. I don't know if it continues here. I wonder if they just do the good old fashioned put a pin in it, because I feel like Wardlow and MJF is about to pop. I think this is about the time for it to happen. So we'll see. But I know MJF's got some stuff going on Dynamite, which we get to talk about, but this was so good for both these wrestlers. I can't just speak enough of the storytelling that both these guys put on. Darby Allin's face paint was on point. It was the best damn face paint he's ever had. I loved it to death.
Best damn face paint.
This is little things. And then, I mean, and for once, MJF was in a pay-per-view and didn't look like a carrot. So let's just take that.
So thank you for Jamie's wrestling and fashion review here. We will return shortly. So.
Hated it.
All right, so we got 1-2 going on here. Next match was for the AEW tag team titles between Lucha Bros and FTR. And if you want to see them wrestle for the AAA tag team titles, tune in December for the next Triple Mania show, because that's going to happen as well. You're going to get a lot of FTR and Lucha Bros, which I dig, I like, I really do like, especially considering this match here. We all picked Lucha Bros, right? So, spoiler alert, they win. So I'm just gonna put the point up there now. We'll talk about it. Now, the match itself, actually, this is one match that had a double Eddie tribute.
Lots of Eddie, yeah.
It started off with FTR doing a Eddie mockery, basically, you know, because they're mocking the whole thing, you know. They're los superañas, right? You know, the super frogs. And then, but anyway, I can't remember. I think it was Dax is like gets up there and does the shimmy and starts to do the Tres Amigos and, you know, breaks it up. And then Penta's like, no, this is how you do it, and he does it, the Los Tres Amigos. And once again, Phoenix is not human. I don't know how many times I have to say that for it to stick, but he is not. There was a moment in the match where it's one of, you know, a lot of times kind of broke down. You have all four people in the ring. They're doing different things back and forth between the four, right? And so they did a thing, and then you know, the other member of FTR comes in, and then from your TV screen, and then somebody made a GIF of this, which is great, because literally out of nowhere, Penta was outside and he springboarded off the top ropes, but it looked like it was FTR and Penta, and then from out of nowhere, like Spider-Man, here comes Penta just landing next to him, like boom, there's Penta.
He is like a superhero coming out of flight, just boop. It was awesome.
Yeah, he was walking the ropes especially well tonight. Some of the things, like oh my god. So I can never get enough of Penta, and yeah, everything was great. The match came down to the end in a very interesting way. So technically it was the wrong call on the pin, because FTR did this whole thing where they go, you know, it's all breaking down, and one person does a finisher, then another person on the other team does a finisher, then the other person on the first team does a finish, one of those, you know, spots, and then FTR ends up outside, and they go underneath the apron, and like, oh, they're grabbing something, right? And they go put on their Superanias, the green lucha masks, and they pull in Cash, I think, and they end up doing their assisted pile driver finisher on him. And first of all, before that, there was about good 2.5, 3 minutes of near fall city just left.
Oh,
and right.
It was sick. Yes.
it was just everything you wanted to see. Just near fall here, near fall there, big rig done. Everything, right? So it ends up with their assisted sit down pile driver on Cash, get the pin. Technically, Cash wasn't the legal man.
Yes, it was Dax.
This is not over. So this is not over, or maybe this is just continuation selling for the AAA titles. Either because they're definitely not done seeing each other because of AAA. But
yeah, they'll make it a winner take all.
I'm good with that.
And AEW probably will that too.
Get it all back on Lucha Bros. So anywho, it's good to see FTR getting featured a little bit more. They kind of got lost in the shuffle there for a hot minute. Mm-hmm. People forget they were the second ever tag team champions. No, third.
Well, Cash got his arm ripped open, and that kind of stalled them for a minute.
Lately, they did, but after they lost the titles to the Bucks, they kind of, for like 6 months, just kind of went nowhere land, right? You know, they might have had some time off, maybe. Who knows? But it's good to see them back in the forefront of everything. So, so that's where we stand. So, and as you see here, we got a 3, a 3, and a 2.
A 3, a 2. A 3.
Now, of the next two matches, the two that Jamie is going to talk about here are the ones where myself and Megan differ. Because of the differences with Jamie, he's more or less out at this point here.
Yeah, I have one other shot. That's about it.
Yeah, because basically, you know, he has one shot.
I'm out if Megan runs it. I have a shot against you.
Right.
I'm out against
So
Megan at this point.
you have a shot against me. So, but as it stands with me, I'm looking at this here, and I know that I'm just doing the math in my head. I'm looking at what we have. I need to get at least one of these two matches to be competitive, to push to at minimum a tie.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind. Okay, so you got next match, Miro.
I do. Miro versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Finals.
Kind of a long, not terrible, but still
Not
a
as
little
long
bit
as the women's one.
I'm not even going to try that. No, thank you.
So this match was a hell of a match, and Bryan Danielson somehow, some way, pulled it off against Miro. Miro's God has forsaken him again, which gives me and our champion Megan a point. So that makes me tied now with JJ.
I thought for sure about 3 times there Miro was actually going to do it.
Yeah, I did too. There was a couple spots where, oh shit, and then he somehow didn't, and Bryan Danielson did Bryan Danielson things.
I mean, this is I don't know if Bryan Danielson's really had a bad match since he's been back. First of all,
he's in,
and this was great. He put over Miro wonderfully. Miro the same. I mean, Miro for the first 5 minutes looked just dominant, just mauling him, right? Which I knew that's not how it's going to end, but it was good for the storytelling. And Danielson, and then we get back and forth. And Danielson starts working all the angles and trying to get, the leg and trying to get the neck, and then back to the leg and the submissions here. He starts going catch can, and then Miro breaks up several times there and is basically begging him to hit him. One of those things. And oh my God, it came down to it. I really thought that Miro was going to win when he had the game over in the second time.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, I love that moment, like you're talking about, when he was having Bryan Danielson just kick him on the side. It was straight up like Tong Po from Kickboxer. And he's such a big movie buff on that kind of stuff too. Like his whole persona is been Chong Li from Bloodsport, which by the way, there's a new Bloodsport redo coming out, which looks absolutely amazing. That has Jean-Claude Van Damme and the guy who played Chong Li. But anyway,
funny you say that. His nickname for the longest time back when he was in WWE and on Up Down Down before the whole Up Down Down controversy going on now, right? But when he was on there, I mean, for the longest time, he was Roman Reigns. That was his nickname, because Roman Reigns never loses. But
yeah, I remember.
he then changed his name to Tong Po.
Yes. And so like that whole moment, like, I don't know if anybody's watched Kickboxer. If you haven't, you absolutely should. It's on Audrey, my youngest's top 5 movies. It's behind Super Troopers and Bloodsport. But anyway, Audrey now quotes Super Troopers. I kid you not. It is one of the most glorious things of all time.
That's my girl. Hell yeah.
But anyway, so like that just was a great call out there to Tong Po. Like it was just it was great. And the thing too is like when he got the guillotine, I was like, oh shit. Like, is he gonna tap? I thought
he was gonna pass out, right?
I thought he was gonna pass out, and he wasn't gonna tap, which would still make him strong, because he has a weakness of the head. And it was just such a damn good match.
It ended up being a DDT from the top rope, which led into the guillotine.
Yes.
And then they called it pretty quick there.
Really quick. Like, that surprised me a little bit, because usually, like, you want the fight or anything. It was like damn near he's in. It was like done. I'm like, whoa.
he might have just been like, that's it. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Go home. We'll have 30 seconds. Sorry.
Our predictions of possible CJ sighting, not happening. And where does this leave Miro? So this puts Bryan Danielson as the number 1 contender, or as somebody with a guaranteed title shot. I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. He's not the number 1 contender, although he'll technically be listed as number 1 contender, which I think, okay, I'm splitting hairs here. But anyway, he gets a title shot, and what do we do with Miro now? Where does he go here?
I have a theory, of course.
You want to save it till we announce some other matches, or do you have?
Oh no, this would be good. So another team. So there's another team or a faction, if you will, that is starting to form. It's starting to become a thing. It has an unholy alliance we're going to talk about here in a minute, but the House of Black.
Okay.
Because God has forsaken him. He's going to turn dark, if you will.
You become the Dark Redeemer.
The Dark Redeemer. The House of Black.
I just got giddy there for a second.
Right?
I'm like
just think about him. Malakai Black and Andrade El Idolo all together, and then you add like a woman to that, like Abaddon, and then somebody else. Like that would be
Buddy Matthews.
Well, Buddy Matthews is in New Japan, but I would be game for that.
I know.
Or one Wyndham Rotunda, because evidently the rumors are a swirling that they are actually talking, but not talking. If you know what I mean, they can't say that they're talking.
They're talking about he's okay. I'm a rumor kill that right now because he may show up in AEW sometime next year. He's currently in Hollywood film.
Yeah.
Some horror projects. So he's got, and the thing about him, he's so creative. He has all these other outlets. I think he's going to take some time and just fuck around with some of that for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he has been on TV since WrestleMania.
Maybe we see him at All Out next year. I know that Impact's still trying hard to get him. So maybe Slammiversary if he goes to Impact, but I don't think we're going to see him. I don't think we're going to see him in the first quarter of 22.
I bet.
I
think you're right, but I think it's double or nothing if it is AEW.
Okay.
If not, it's Wrestle Kingdom, and I will say it'll be in the first quarter. He would dominate in New Japan. They would love him there.
Well, but New Japan has just made so many, they've been making moves too. They've got Buddy Matthews, they also have now a new relationship with one Mr. Jonah, who we'll talk about on Thursday. We don't want to stray him too far.
Hey, they got the yen. They got the yen. Spend the yen.
Need some yen. All I'm saying is that I like that idea of putting him there. I don't necessarily think Miro needs a faction, but I worry that if he's not necessarily, because here's what that does for Andrade and Black and Miro all together. It keeps them in something that they can be, and this is what we talked about our whole faction argument from months ago as well. It gives them airtime, gives them a thing to do without being involved in a top storyline.
Yep.
Because even now, with a second TV show, terrible time slot, but a second TV show, and you got the Dark and Dark Elevation, which get good traffic. Really, though, you still have the one main show. You have little bits here and there. And you keep expanding the roster more and more and more.
Yeah.
Where you get airtime from, and if you're not in a title picture or a big feud, a big draw feud, you're somewhere in the middle of Dark Elevation, right? Okay. So I think that'd be great for him.
And plus,
give us your comments.
He might be taking some time off anyway because he has got that quad injury or hamstring injury that he's been nursing. Like that thing was taped up pretty hard.
I think his shoulder. I think his shoulder's like long term been jacked up too, so it could probably use some scoping or something. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. So, give us your thoughts. What would you like to see Miro? Fantasy book Miro for us. Give us a comment. Give us a tweet. Let us know what you think. Rolling right along here. So anyway, remember I said it's one of two matches that I was hinging my bets on. So we all picked the Superkliq on this next match, which means it comes down to this. Because of the way things are shaping up, Jamie can't beat Meg.
I cannot.
And I can only tie Meg. So this match doesn't factor into that. The Superkliq versus America Top Team and Men of the Year. The next match does. So keep that in mind. Now, we all picked Superkliq here. This is the Minneapolis Street Fight. Nope. That was the wrong thing. This is the Falls Count Anywhere.
Yes, this is Falls Count Anywhere.
Let me start over because I fucked this all up. This is the Superkliq versus the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage, not American Top Team.
No.
I don't know where I am anymore. I'm so focused on beating Megan, I'm getting distracted here. This goddamn 15-year-old hell spawn of a child who just emasculates me on a quarterly basis. It's just not even fair anymore. All right, I got a chance. I got a shot. All right, so Christian Cage, Jurassic Express versus Superkliq in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And if you wanted a spot fest, you got it.
100%.
This was a spot fest.
Yes.
This was all six of these guys here. Yeah, Adam Cole, baby, Young Bucks, Christian Cage, to some extent, but Luchasaurus, Luchasaurus is almost one of the most over guys in AEW, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why, but he is. I love it. And of course, one of the four pillars, Mr. Jungle Boy. These all guys can go, and they went. They had all the spots. I didn't even really write down all the spots because there's too many for me to even get to. But there was tables on the outside, and then Matt Jackson did an elbow drop from the top rope over the post onto the table of Jungle Boy,
and it looked just like a Macho Man one. Like, it was perfect.
They were doing hardcore Macho Man copying. I mean, there was all sorts of stuff. There was tables left and right, chairs all over the place, all sorts of stuff. And then they go under the ring and they pull out JJ's favorite. What makes JJ the happiest whenever he sees just crazy ass spot matches? A big old black bag, thumbtacks. But they don't do them justice. Here's why. Instead of doing what they should do, which is you lay them out and you do fucking crazy shit on top of them. It's grab 2 handfuls each while Jungle Boy is in the camel clutch by Adam Cole. Each of the Young Bucks shoves their handful of tacks into his mouth. They do the run back and forth, kiss Adam Cole, and then super kick him in the face, which that was great.
It was.
But that's all that bag of thumbtacks saw usage. And that made me sad for a second.
Yeah, they made up for it.
Then they get to the really crazy part of the ring. I'm not even kidding you. Like, all the stuff that happened in there, crazy ladders, tables, chairs, thumbtacks, all this stuff, right? That was all just like the standard crazy shit. Then they got into the really good crazy shit when they moved up the ramp.
Yes,
so,
it got nuts.
It got crazy. So the ramp here is bigger. Now, and once again, I'm not trying to do, compare, but at All Out, it was a very similar stage to like a regular Dynamite stage, right?
Just a longer entrance.
It was just a little bit longer, bigger. They had the big video board entrance here. So they had the same video board floor for the first third of the ramp here, but the stage itself was bigger because they didn't have the usual big, like, curved cage thing that they have between the 2 tunnels, okay? So they had a big, tall video board in the middle, and then it was like 2 flat tunnels with like the gear motif on top and just regular entrances, one on each side. So there was a lot more physical space on the top of the ramp. That's an important distinction because they utilize all of it.
Every last ounce.
They started doing this and all sorts of things done. Spots on there, this and that. Submissions done, broken up, crazy spots, people being thrown off. And then Jungle Boy picks up and choke slams one of the Young Bucks onto the other one. Luchasaurus choke slams one of the Young Bucks onto the other one down below, along with Cutler and Nakazawa are. And there's another couple of like security guys. So they're trying to pick everybody up. And while they're doing it, Luchasaurus is sitting there and just kind of waiting. And then does a shooting star press off the top of the ramp onto all of them on the floor. And it looked sick.
It was amazing.
It was my spot of the match. It was. Even though you had shortly thereafter a very Howlett-esque attempt to climb the cage by multiple people.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I like that.
Shout out to Howlett.
Now,
and then Adam Cole. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, then you got the Panama Sunrise, and
then you get Panama Sunrise. Then you get Adam Cole retrieving another black bag, and in this black bag are 3 knee pads covered in thumbtacks. Mm-hmm. So they put on these thumbtack knee pads and do a triple BTE trigger on Jungle Boy.
Luchasaurus.
Jungle Boy or Cage?
Luchasaurus
On top of that there. In the end, there was a concerto that they kind of turn everything around, And then Christian Cage sets it up for Concerto, gives the chair to Jungle Boy, who does the Concerto on Matt Jackson. 1, 2, 3, pin, victory. Wow. Spot Fest City.
It was insane. I loved everything about this match. I honestly thought like the Superkliq was gonna find some way to cheat to win, and I thought they did when they busted out those knee pads. And no, Jungle Boy's ascension continues, ladies and gentlemen. Jungle Boy continues to go up, and eventually we are going to see Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy 1-on-1, and I want that more than
We've already seen that.
Yeah, but
We saw that like 3 weeks ago on Rampage.
bigger stakes.
Okay.
There's
I think
got to be something there because they fought each other, but like I feel like there's more to that will be coming for those two.
you feel like it's got to be like in a title hunt of some sort. Either one of them has the title or they're vying for number one or something, right?
One of those two is going to be the next TNT champion. Calling it now.
Okay. To me, that makes sense. Although I think Cole might not be in that title line personally. But
Oh, you think he's going to be for the big one because Kenny's out now? Oops.
you son of a bitch.
Man, everybody knows. Come on now.
Everybody knows. But I think he'll be in line. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. We'll circle, but we're gonna put a pin in that. Okay, let's get back to our stuff because as you see here, we all got a point for that. We all got it right. So
we all got it wrong.
Next match,
we all got it wrong because we all picked Superkliq. So
that's right. Yeah,
no perfect card,
changed.
ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. Yeah,
no perfect card.
Which you just kept going off when we were picking on Friday. Like perfect card right here, perfect card.
I mean, Megan had the potential.
She was the closest. Absolutely. So this next match is going to determine our champion. We're going to keep giving you our picks. Well, until it's final. But in all reality, it comes down to this: if Megan gets the point, if not, we keep going.
Yes.
So let's see.
Keep going, and then there's a tie that we have to go to the tiebreaker at the end because we're the exact.
Which I'm
same
going to talk
records.
about here.
So, all right. So after this, we had Cody Rhodes and Pac versus Malakai Black and Andrade El Idolo. And man, can I just say something? The entrances for this match were amazing. If anything,
Yes.
If I say anything, just the intros. I mean, Pac just had the regular one, but Cody and Malakai for sure, and Andrade's, man, I love his black mask and how he does all that. It's so good. This match was surprisingly very, very good and very good story-wise. I knew that in the ring it was going to be fine, but the story that they were able to do so quickly with a match that literally was just thrown together on Dynamite, very well done. Cody Rhodes and Pac end up getting the W versus Malakai Black and Andrade El Idolo. So Megan gets a point. I get a point. JJ doesn't get a point. So at this point, I am in sole possession of second place.
And there you see it. Me and Jamie are both now officially eliminated. So we'll crown her when it's whatever. But I'm with you too. First of all, Malakai's new mask, just thick. Very dark, very evil. It's
Even Danhausen said it was very nice, very evil.
It's very, very evil. So it's almost devilish, It's got the big old horns now. It's very, very menacing, and his entrance was just stellar stuff. It's just every time I see it, it gets better. Like we didn't get to see. He didn't actually get to perform on All Out, so we didn't get to see it live, unfortunately. But I would love to see it because he's got a bigger ramp and it's much more thematic production. There are a lot of people who are doing a lot bigger kind of, I think that's a good thing to do on the pay-per-views. Can't have everybody have like a WrestleMania entrance, right? But you got a few here and there, right? The Lucha Bros had the big one at All Out, Malakai seemed longer here, and there were a few others during the pay-per-view that had some big, I dig it. I think it's cool, so.
Yeah, this match had some good spots in it. Like, damn near right off the bat, Cody gets hit with a black mass, and he's just, like out of commission for like half the match.
Before that, you had Pac and and Cody blind taking each other in back and forth.
Which was that storytelling I was talking about. Like, they had that animosity towards each other.
Mhm.
And then even Andrade and Malakai had that, like,
For a brief, for a little bit too, they did as well.
And then they were like, okay, we know what we're doing. We're fine.
I think with Malakai and Andrade, you can foresee that because they're heels. This is people who are they're bad people naturally, right? So they're not going to always coalesce because at the end of the day, they both want to be the victor of all things. So
yeah,
I get that, but but Pac is basically the same thing too. Pac is so not a face, but kind of a face,
right? Yeah, he's definitely a tweener. I mean, there was some good stuff. Pac hit that nasty 450. Oh, that thing was so pretty. There's just so many.
Andrade gave one of the best, Tres Amigos, of course.
He absolutely did, and of course he did the shoulder shimmy, everything.
Did the shimmy.
Like, again, another Eddie Guerrero. Like, this just had everything you wanted. I love the flurry at the end when Andrade got hit with like the Poison Rana, then got hit with the Black Arrow for the win. By Pac. I mean, like, that was sick. That Poison Rana, or the reverse Spike DD, the Spike Kirk and Rana. They call it a Poison Rana now on TV, so I'm just gonna
you call it Poison Rana. It's been called a Spike Rana before too.
Yeah.
I think it's either or. I don't know. It's what
it looks kick ass. That's all I know. And then that Black Arrow looked great again. Great match, great storytelling. Honestly, it surprised me.
Pac getting the pinfall too, because if you look at this match, you have the three people who are in a feud and Pac, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although Pac's kind of in a feud with Andrade-ish, right?
Yeah.
But that's more about the Lucha Bros than him. So it's good for him to get the pinfall in this too, because it's like, he should not be left by the wayside in anything.
No.
He is too damn good.
He is. And the crowd was in on it. They were honestly cheering for Cody for a little bit too. Like, they got on him early, but then they started cheering him towards the end, which is great for Cody. Cody actually just recently deleted his Twitter because of all the trolls there on there just bashing the shit out of him. Also,
which I think, you are hell bent on this whole Codelander shtick, which is not going to stick, by the way.
Codelander is sticking. I'm not the only one who said on the internets.
Okay, all right. I haven't seen a trend yet, so we'll see. But I think that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't believe it's going to go down in the same way, right? But regardless. And I don't get people's necessary hatred towards Kenny. I have more of an annoyance. Like I've said, he is AEW's John Cena, love it or hate it, right?
Yeah.
Don't be like that to him. Come on, leave. The internet, the IWC can be a great place, but it's more often than not it's a little bit too toxic. So, I don't think people should read too much into that either. Too, he just needs to get away from noise. So, cool beans, but. We know this from firsthand from when we were at Dynamite a couple weeks ago. It is not 90-10 hate towards Cody. It's very much split.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was cool. So, that gives the point to both Faulkners, as we said. So, we're going to go through the last 4 matches here, which are all the same picks. So I'll just be updating these here. I'm not going to go through it because whatever one of us gets, we all get. This difference here is going to be the same at the end. Mm-hmm. So women's title match was next. Tay Conti versus Britt Baker. Tay Conti had a little extra special intro coming in. She had a Brazilian American flag and war. She looked great, by the way.
Yes,
her hair was done amazing with the braids and the big braid in the middle. Gave her this kind of Aztecan warrior look.
Amazonian, because she's Brazilian.
There you go. And then she even had this Brazil colors, like the green, blue, and yellow across her eyes. She looked the part, and you could see in her eyes when she was coming down there that this is the biggest match she has ever wrestled in. She was never given anything near a shot like this. I don't even know if she was even on a takeover.
No.
Maybe one in one of those like bunch matches, maybe.
Yeah.
On the pre-show. But so anyway, so this is huge night for her. She comes out first. Britt Baker comes out. Same old, same big DMD pop and all the good stuff. So they get to it. Of course, you got Jamie Hayter, who was a little sore from before, and Rebel, who
Rebel.
you call her whatever you feel like.
Rebel.
So they come out, of course, and then we get going on the match. And they get right to it. Tay starts off hot. They're going for it. And for the most part, and you don't really have interference in the first third at all, right? So they're going for it, and it's a very good kind of cash can back and forth between the two. And this is probably Tay's best match that I've ever seen her as well. It's her biggest match, but it's also, I think, her best match. She had a match against Nyla Rose back during the pandemic when they had, I think it was the previous tournament.
Yeah, the Eliminator tournament. Yep.
The previous Eliminator tournament, that it was like the semifinals, and she was excellent. And I think she was better in this match.
I agree.
She pulled in new moves. She pulled in some great stuff. Britt Baker was consistent, which is not a shade in any stretch of the imagination, because she is the champion for a reason. She is very well versed. She can go in different directions, give, take. All wonderful. But Britt, Tay, and if you follow any of the vlogs, you will know that Tay's been wanting to add some aerial to her arsenal. She's good friends with Sammy Guevara, so they've been kind of doing a little bit of training bits, and they've shown some of it on the vlog that she's been doing some top rope moves. So she did a nice big top rope crossbody, young boy's favorite.
Yep.
And then she did a pretty damn good looking moonsault out to the outside. Now she was trying to take out all three of Britt Baker's conglomerate. Britt gets out of the way, but she does take out Jamie and Rebel right there, and leads to Britt getting the glove put on her hand by Rebel, and Rebel devilishly laughing into the screen for what felt like an hour, and I don't know why. That's one of my highlights of this match, but it was great. But then there was a series of back and forths, near falls pins. She kept trying to get the lockjaw on, couldn't get it, and I legitimately thought for a couple times there, just like with Miro, I thought she was going to win it. I go, holy shit, Tay's actually going to win this thing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't.
Yeah, she gave us that false sense of hope.
I mean, it was more than I imagined in some other ones. Like some of her other defenses, like against Chris Statlander, I never really thought Statlander was going to pull it off. There's a brief moment there where I'm like, he's actually going to get this. Holy shit. But she didn't. Britt ended up getting the victory. But a very good showing by Tay. I think this does set up, like we've all been suspecting, like it's been rumored. I think it's going to be, it's got to be Thunder Rosa to take the belt off of Britt.
Yep.
I don't think, as much as I love Ruby, I don't think it's her. I don't see Statlander. I don't see Nyla Rose. I think it's got to be Thunder Rosa to take the belt off of Britt, and then we can go in all sorts of directions, right?
Or it's the return of one Maki Ito. I mean, Mesa Ruga is here, so why not?
Mesa Ruga is here. That is true. I mean, so what do you think about the match? And is it Thunder Rosa?
Yeah, unless Thunder Rosa's TBS champion, unless they're setting her up for TBS.
Let's do this. I know this isn't really part of the pay-per-view, but real quick, who do you think will be of the 8 women remaining? Who do you think will be TBS champion?
Thunder Rosa.
You think it'll be Thunder Rosa?
I don't see anybody else beating her for it.
I think it'll be Ruby.
You think so?
Ruby. Yes.
Or do you think they're going to give it to Jade as the dark horse?
I don't think they're going to give it to Jade. I think they'll have Jade beat Rosa.
Oh.
I think they'll have Ruby, much like, and here's why, much in a similar fashion how Jericho was the first AEW champion.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Soho, who is a recognizable face for women's wrestling, give her the TBS title on your new channel.
Thunder Rosa is the number 5 ranked PWI Insider wrestler.
No, I'm not talking about. Okay, as much as I love Ruby, is Thunder Rosa a better wrestler than Ruby? Yes,
and a bigger name at this point.
If
for AEW,
well, it depends for AEW, yeah. But if you're that's the people as a whole, here are these two women. Which one do you recognize? Like, oh, that chick with all the tattoos.
Yeah, fair.
So that's why I think they'll do it. First of all, I think she deserves it. Everybody knows I'm a huge Ruby fan, but I have a feeling that they're not going to give her the TBS title, Thunder Rosa, because they want to have her be in the feud with Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, once again, who else would take the belt off of Baker that you feel would be as deserving to take it off her? Sheeta?
No.
Nyla Rose? Jade Cargill? Bunny? Anna Jay?
They could build somebody. They could start something. I don't know.
I think it's Thunder Rosa. I also think that's going to be, and I'm going wild fan. I know we're way off topic here. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going wild fantasy booking island. That's going to be your show-ending main event for Revolution.
Oh.
Rebellion.
Revolution.
I had it. Goddamn. All these wrestling companies with similar name pay-per-views. That's going to be your finish event that's going to be your headline. I'm just calling it. That's what I see. So, all right.
Interesting.
Next match was one of my contenders for match of the night.
Really?
Without question. Yeah.
I mean, it was really good, but I'm like, I don't know if it was match of the night quality, but
I think this was better than MJF and Darby. I personally do. I think it was.
So this is CM Punk versus one Eddie Kingston. Wow. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I'm like, do you think so? Yeah, it kind of is up there.
Well,
so
I bought into this a week and a half before you did too. So anyway.
Yeah. So CM Punk ends up getting the win, but damn it, Eddie showed out and showed out hard. And honestly, like, this is the thing that got me the most about this.
Hard is a great word.
This is
right now.
This is the thing that got me the most. People were booing CM Punk because everybody wanted Eddie to win.
I have never seen Eddie. I've seen Eddie get over, but not at the expense of like CM Punk of all things.
And somebody referenced this too. Rock versus Hogan, WrestleMania 18.
Yes.
Started out booing The Rock, and by the end they're chanting Rocky, 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 Rocky. You know, it's one of those things. You know, it's same setup, and man, like,
because they weren't really booing Punk. They were booing the situational CM Punk.
Yes. And CM Punk was great, though.
Oh, man. No clobbering time. Straight to business, right? Straight out to business. And he even had, he didn't even have his regular trunks. He had, like, boxer shorts on.
Yeah.
And he was taped up, you know, with, the extra. And not only did it look and feel, it felt like a heavyweight, like, fight. Like a cage wrestling, like a cage boxing, MMA, kickboxing fight.
Yeah. And
it did.
And before the match even started, freaking Kingston nails him with that spinning back fist and just knocked him out cold. Like, man, if there's a bell, bing, bing, he would have won. And everybody like, what the fuck just happened? You know, like, which would have been amazing. But no, this thing had everything. Like, it had that. It had CM Punk hitting the 5 moves of doom. 5 moves of doom and throwing up the hand for the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then just throws the birds at him. And this
so many birds.
Oh,
there's a 3 Amigos he did too. CM Punk did a 3 Amigos, but CM Punk was massive. Eddie, he's always said he was one of his biggest influence.
Yeah, like, oh my goodness, like, we had
the crowd was hyped. The crowd. Talk about the crowd for a second.
That crowd was lava hot for this match. Like, again, it was a pro Kingston crowd, which surprised the hell out of me because it is the CM Punk, which maybe this turns CM Punk into the CM Punk that we all want. You know,
He's been flirting with that. I mean, he's been flirting with the kind of the short-tempered Pumpkin. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it had that like that crowd was just all over this match. So,
from the start, they were just amped, and the electricity. Maybe that's partially why I was so into it too, because it's like that infectious energy. You could tell they were just. It's kind of like during the cage match at All Out between Lucha Bros. Like we were in the crowd, and the whole crowd the whole time. We were just everybody. We didn't sit down. We were all just amped the whole time. So that's the way this felt. It was like that infectious. Just oh my god, so good. So sorry.
No, this match though, whoo boy, yeah. Again, so this thing had everything you wanted. Everything you wanted out of it. Eddie looked strong out of it. CM Punk looked strong. Like, I feel like this feud is far from over.
I hope to God it is.
They need to continue it after this, because at the end, CM Punk went to shake Eddie's hand and Eddie just is like, nah, and just walked off.
And this is another one too, where we talked about earlier. You could do this, could be a pin situation. You could put a pin in this. You could revisit this at like New Year, right? Or you can revisit this, at Jacksonville before New Year's, right?
Yeah.
Or you can come back in 2 weeks when they're back in Chicago. Hello.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't go to Chicago enough, But my goodness, this thing had everything you wanted. It was a lot of fun.
Go find this match and watch it.
Yes.
That's my word.
Yes.
Do I think this is match of the night? Not quite.
No. Unfortunately. I mean, it was good. It was real good.
For me, it's a very close second. I'm gonna put it that way.
It's tied.
And I know you can like the other one better. It's fine.
No, it's right, because the crowd is tied for second. I'll give it that.
Okay. It was a different type of match, but anyway, it was fantastic.
Yes.
Speaking of a different type of match, next we had a Minneapolis street fight, which I was trying to get to earlier, but I didn't get around. So you had Inner Circle versus America's Top Team and the Men of the Year in a Minneapolis street fight. What is a Minneapolis street fight, you might ask, JJ? Because I've heard of other like Philadelphia street fights, right?
Yeah.
I've heard of, different types of like city theme. I've never heard of a Minneapolis street fight. Oh, I'll get there. Just hold on 1 second. So, coming out, Dan Lambert's wearing a velour tracksuit.
Blue tracksuit. Looks like a giant
bright
Smurf.
Blue velour. I mean, I don't even... You looking like Cedric the Entertainer from 2004. I don't know what's going on here.
Good
so, but they come out and starts off as a regular wrestling match. Much to my surprise, I thought it was gonna go bing bonkers. Let's just fucking go, right?
Yeah.
No. They start off as a regular 5-on-5 match, and the highlight of that first little salvi was definitely Junior Dos Santos.
100%. He looked good.
He did a fucking moonsault.
Yes, and landed it.
I mean,
standing moonsault.
And everybody says
standing moonsault.
A standing moonsault too. And everybody says that he is such a good, positive person, open to learn. And I was like, he can, if he wants to do this, because I'm not a big fan of people doing the whole, like, oh, now I'm going to come over here, because it's usually shit, right? We talked about this back when we had celebrities appearing this past summer in AEW. Mm-hmm. Although Shaq wasn't terrible. Snoop Dogg, not so much, but yeah. I like this, and he can do it, and he's got the look and the size, and he was great. Then, of course, you had, it was a Minneapolis street fight because it involved there was like tubs of things and stuff under the ring. It was all things that were created or invented in Minneapolis, which is not 100% true, because it's also things that are very popular in Minneapolis as well. Minnesota often calls themselves the state of hockey. It's the biggest hockey state in America.
Yeah.
It probably only is because North Dakota has like a tenth of the number of people, but I digress.
Yeah.
And go UND. That's for my cousins up there, up in North Dakota. But the hockey sticks, and you had all these things that were lone beholds to everybody before the match were created or invented in Minneapolis or Minnesota. And if you need to know more information about that, don't you worry, because Tony Schiavone is here to give you the history lesson you so wanted to know. So this includes things like a toaster, and a bundt cake pan. And we got to get the explanation while they're being used as weapons, why they're in this fucking match.
The bundt cake pan got me. I was cracking my ass up when I saw the bundt cake pan.
Especially because JR goes, "Stop the damn bundt cake." Which I needed that right at that moment because they were using a bundt cake pan. I got to hear JR say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jericho, king of the cheap pop, gets a cheap pop by pulling out from under the ring a giant purple Prince logo.
Yes.
And using it to swat them, which of course gets a Purple Rain chant. That was wonderful.
Yes.
There was a football, not because football was invented in Minneapolis or Minnesota, or that they've ever won a fucking Super Bowl, but they are pretty big fans of football up there with their Vikings. And Sammy Guevara uses the football to break up a hold at one point.
Yeah.
It got a little bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it did. Real quick.
But it comes down to the end that there is Jericho and Dan Lambert in the ring. Jamie does not get his lion tamer.
I sure don't.
First of all,
I was very disappointed.
You wax poetic that it was going to happen. But nope, no lion tamer. We do though get a Chris Jericho frog splash.
Yes, for Eddie Guerrero.
That's how for Eddie Guerrero, which he's. And if for those of you who are not in the know, they are very close. They spent years on the road in WCW, and anyway. So very emotional for Jericho. Gets the pinfall over Dan Lambert. That's your victory. A Minneapolis street fight.
It was
kind of a ridiculous concept.
It was fun. I think my two most memorable pieces out of this was Sammy's swanton off the ladder onto the table. Thought that looked absolutely phenomenal.
It was like a 35-foot ladder right onto Ethan Page. It was
beautiful.
Or was it Scorpio? It was Scorpio.
Scorpio, because then Ethan Page got the Iron Claw from none other than Minnesota wrestling legend, 81-year-old Baron Von Raschke.
I forgot about Baron. Yeah.
They just put it on him. Like, they showed him before the match. I'm like, oh, he's going to get involved. Like, it's just one of those things. Like,
somebody's getting clawed. Absolutely.
It's the claw. It's the claw. It's going to get you. Sorry. That's a little liar reference for you guys. But no, I like this match. It was fun. It was exactly what was needed at that point because of how intense the Eddie Kingston CM Punk match was.
Well, and this match falls in between Kingston CM Punk and Hangman Omega. So you've got intense emotion, and then you've got the two and a half year build up, everybody's vested interest, main event. So is it a ridiculous match? A little bit.
100%.
But it's kind of very much, once again, I'm making the comparisons to All Out for a very good reason, because they did a very similar thing in between CM Punk's return and the main event. They had that breakout match. It was Big Show just demolishing the whoever the fuck,
QT Marshall.
And his group of cronies. But same thing. It was a palate cleanser to get you ready for your main course. So
yes. But
before the main event,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Before the main event, two announcements that were made. So on Dynamite, before the show, I don't know, pre-show or whatever, they showed a clip there that Orange Cassidy was challenged to a tag team match, and he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna choose another one of the members. What's that group we're in again?
Yeah, Chaos.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll choose somebody from that group, to be my teammate. And they're like, oh, so he's going to make his announcement. And so the announcement was made at this point here that it's going to be, and I can't remember who they're wrestling. Remind me who they're wrestling.
Matt Hardy Family Office.
So the HFO, Butcher and Blade. That's right.
Yes.
Butcher and Blade against Orange Cassidy, teaming with not Okada.
I know.
Tomohiro Ishii.
Almost as good. Almost as good.
Who, if you don't listen to our Thursdays, start that. But we're going to let you know. A new never openweight champion, Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes. New never openweight champion.
Big news. Thursday, we'll talk about that. And then the second announcement was Tony Schiavone on the stage. There is a new member to the AEW locker. Now, when he was standing there on that stage, who would you think this was? Just initially, when he said that, before you even started digging into their background, he's like, there's a new member to the roster right now, somebody who's been around, been a champion in multiple places, blah, blah, blah. Initially, what did you think of, legitimately?
Also, I thought Jay Lethal. Just because everything going on with Ring of Honor. And there's been smoke about that.
It was Jay Lethal. He stole my thunder there a little bit, but that's okay.
Well, he has.
Okay.
I was just gonna say.
I didn't know. Okay. See, I was thinking, because I was like, Tony Khan always said, big things coming. I didn't think it was Jay Lethal because, I don't know. I just felt like Jay Lethal would be going back to Impact. I don't know why. I didn't think of any of the Ring of Honor guys there. So I was trying to think of who it could be real fast. And I'm like, okay, it's not going to be Jonah. I know that Wyndham's not there. I'm like, who could champion everywhere else? And then Jay Lethal is all elite. So
Jay Lethal deserves
I'm a big Jay Lethal fan. He does. He's got, okay. There's allegations that had lived in his past, that he sexually harassed people, so on. Allegations that I want to just say, for the official record, had been investigated, and there was zero evidence found. No charges of anything had ever surmised. So, be that as it may, some people still hold a grudge against Jay Lethal for that stuff. Very similarly has been done with certain pro athletes and other wrestlers as well. That whether they're guilty or not, they were investigated and nothing was found to have happened, or there was no evidence to back the claim, and it is what it is. Okay, so I just want to say that. I don't condone any of this by any stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. I know there are some people who believe Jay Lethal guilty until proven innocent. Mm-hmm. From all accounts, Jay Lethal, especially the past 3 or 4 years of his career, ever since he made the commitment to be the face of Ring of Honor, post AJ Styles, right, and everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody says that he is a number one. Bring the young guys up, put the young kids over. He has been a huge supporter of LGBTQ plus wrestlers. Hello, Effie, for example.
Yeah.
I think it's great for any wrestling company. I've been a huge fan of Jay Lethal for years, all the way back to his Black Machismo days in TNA, but, even more so moving forward. So I think it's great. And he immediately issued a challenge to the TNT champion, Sammy Guevara, who comes out, belt in hand, and accepts the challenge. So this Wednesday, we get to see Jay Lethal just going right to it. Jay Lethal, Sammy Guevara, that should be a good match.
That should steal the show. That should be your main event. I'm sorry. I know they got stuff with Hangman and everything, and Kenny, the fallout of the match we're getting ready to talk about. And that's got to be the main event.
That's gonna be.
It's gonna be so good.
Those were the big announcements. You always get some announcements with only 4 pay-per-views a year. You get a big announcement each one. So that leads us into the main event. Numbers are still going, as you see here. We got one more tick to add for everybody, one way or the other. So
yes,
Jamie, let's talk about the main event.
So the main event, as you all are aware, is none other than the champion of Kenny Omega going against Adam Hangman Page. And match of the night.
Yes.
Match
of the night.
Match of the year candidate.
Far.
I'm going to give it a match of the year candidate.
I think candidate for sure. Let's talk about the match, and we'll talk about bigger picture things like that.
Yeah. So this match had everything and then some. The storytelling, the pace. It was a long match, but did not feel long whatsoever. I felt like I could watch those guys wrestle for another hour. Like it was that damn captivating. And the outcome was honestly to be expected, in my opinion, and in JJ's opinion, and to the current champion, Megan. And yes, Adam Hangman Page is your new AEW World Champion.
It's the way it was done. That was a little bit surprising near the end there.
100%.
And
this ending
the beginning was great. There was a video package they kind of did. So I thought they're going to have Hangman come out on a horse.
So did I. I did too.
I saw there was a picture from earlier in the weekend of him riding a horse, but they were actually shooting this video, this vignette. So it shows the streets of Minneapolis somehow cleared. I don't know. They shot it like at 3 a.m, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Probably.
But it shows this drone video going through the streets of Minneapolis. I didn't catch this live, but I did after it was retweeted out that during the kind of run through the thing, there was so many Easter eggs. I couldn't catch them all, but there's different Easter eggs all over the place about Hangman's past and this and that and different stables he'd been in, including there was a covered tunnel over top of a street with the Dark Order running across it.
Interesting.
Little things. Remember, we have waxed poetically for months about this. There is a guy on YouTube you should go check out, Tranquilo, Jamie will say it correctly, Tranquilo Club. He's on Twitter too, but he started a YouTube channel. He's made some excellent videos that break down.
Tranquillo.
Thank you. He made some excellent videos breaking down the entirety of this, and why this is probably the best long-term storytelling in the past decade, if not more, of wrestling. So I love all the little bits there that you caught. And that's before he came out. He started. And once the crowd was with them, Kenny Omega came out into a big entrance as well. Mm-hmm. Big match, big fight feel. I definitely feel match of the year contender.
It was just so damn good. But I want to talk about the end. And then we can talk about the meat. But the end was probably the part that got me the most, because it kind of got me in the feels a little bit, just because I am a New Japan homer, and so the end was just, Page hits a one-winged angel on Omega. Like, that right there is like, oh my God, he stole his finisher. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the Young Bucks come out right after that because he was able to kick out. I'm like, oh, here we go.
They came out right before.
Right before. I'm sorry. Yes. So they came out, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh no, they're gonna screw him, aren't they? Like, I totally thought they were gonna screw him.
Which is interesting because we didn't talk about Rampage, but on Rampage this past Friday, there was a couple good match. There was a good match, and there was whatever stuff. It was a go home show, but there was a Superkliq promo that was interrupted by Hangman. Hangman wearing, and once again, this is something that my buddy Tranquilo Club pointed out, wearing the same shirt he wore when the Bucks had kicked him out of the Elite. Interesting continuity. But he's, oh, here we go. He goes, no. Here's what it is. You guys cost me a title, or I cost you guys a title. You cost me a title shot. The way I figure it, we're even. But if you guys come out and interfere on Saturday, I'll make it my life's mission to ruin you. And just leave.
Yeah.
So I want to put that in there. So keep going.
Yeah. So for the continuity, I appreciate that. So Bucks are out there, and Page gets up, and he hits a buckshot lariat, goes off to the other side where Matt Jackson is, and him and Matt Jackson look at each other. And all Matt does is just nods, like
very subtly.
You got it.
Very subtly.
Like, it's your time.
Is approval like yeah.
Do it. And then he hits a second buckshot. 1, 2, 3. He's your champion. But I thought that for continuity standpoint, because of how everything's happened with him, how they didn't think he was Bullet Club material, didn't even think he was Elite material, and thought he was just a crony for him and all this good stuff, and brought him into the Elite, kick him out of the Elite. And Matt is always, the funny thing is, like, even when Matt and them were fighting, Matt always had a soft spot for him back in the day, you know?
Right.
So I love the fact that he had this approval thing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the ripple effects of that nod are. I was hoping they would do something with it on Being the Elite. They did not. So I'm a little bummed that they didn't get into it. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Being the Elite, they didn't really get into it, but I think that they set some groundwork where they're going to talk about it next Monday. But it is, because that's canon now. And I feel like this match served its purpose very, very well, of this amazing story arc of Adam Hangman Page, and I am praying he has a very, very long title run and they don't just yank the title off of him quickly, because he deserves a nice 6 to 8 month title run, 2 pay-per-views minimum.
Well, yeah, I'm with you there. I think that he is, and once again, we talked to, Tranquilo Club winning this seemed better, a lot deeper than we are going to right now. But, they're definitely have built him up to be the face of the company from the very foundation of the company. Mm-hmm. And even to the point where the pay-per-view that he won this title at was named after a bit that he did on BTE before All Elite Wrestling was a thing. Mm-hmm. Did you watch BTE a lot before all AEW?
Not as much as I do now. Like, I am on it.
There was a bit and where they were going somewhere, this and that, and it's Cody, the Bucks, and Hangman comes out and he's wearing all of his gear. We know this includes, of course, the noose. This gives you an idea about when it was, right? Because he doesn't wear the noose anymore. For good reason. But they're like, "What are you doing? You sitting here? You coming in your full gear? They kept going full." That's where the name Full Gear came from, in case anybody was wondering. You can go back, you can watch that BTE episode. But here's what I like about the whole Matt Jackson thing, and you're 100% correct on that. Nick was on the other side. He kind of moved forward, moved back, moved forward, moved back, and then just backed up, right? Mm-hmm. So he was always non-committal about all that. It was very much Matt who was the interested party in this. And we already have talked about the Mount Rushmore coming soon, right? We have already made mention of the pieces they have laid for Adam Cole and Omega to be at odds, right? Mm-hmm. Because why did they kill Adam Cole? Why did they, beat him out of the Bullet Club on, in Ring of Honor? Because he was a threat. He signed with WWE, but because he was a threat to Kenny Omega's reign. And so even now, the little things they did, the Halloween match where, Cole was going to do a thing, or sorry, Omega was going to do a thing, and then Cole distracts him, tells him to go over there, and then he does the thing with the Bucks and the kiss and the camel clutch while Cole's watching from the corner. So they've been sprinkling that seed, and this just gives you that further piece. So now, because the question that is going to be there is from Omega to Matt, why did you allow him to win? Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? And so there's that wedge there. The Dark Order came out afterwards too. Great little way to sign off. Came out, offered him a beer. He just took the beer, threw it aside, just wanted a hug, and they all hugged. And it was a very heartwarming moment. Mm-hmm. Is like you said, we expected it, right? It wasn't a surprise, but it still felt great at the end of the day.
Yeah, the payoff was well worth it. And
absolutely,
again, match of the year candidate. I mean, there's been a lot of great matches that we have seen this year, and it definitely ranks up there. So, I mean, we'd have to rank them at the end of the year to see what we would consider our match of the year.
Spoiler alert, that may or may not be coming.
Yeah, I know.
Just saying. But I put it up there. I think that off the top of my head, I think the ladder match, or I think the ladder match. I think the cage match from All Out was better, just because of what it was. And my proclivity towards Spot Fest. But I don't know, man. This is one of those matches I think that is going to sit there and be one of those watershed moments in 5-10 years, right? Kind of like how you look back on certain matches. You already made mention to one of them, talking about Hogan Rock, right? Mm-hmm. And then you've got you got Rock Lesnar from SummerSlam, whatever year that was. You've got Stone Cold and Owen Hart.
Oh God,
You know,
match.
that match fucked. That match was so good. But you've got HBK and Undertaker, right? So there's certain matches that just are that, and this is definitely, especially for AEW, it's one of them. I think you can put this on a pedestal with the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Lights Out match, and then there's maybe a few others you can put in there as well. But I think for sure this is one of those. This is that watershed moment. So
yeah, it was magnifique.
Now, before we wrap up our standings, you see there's the standings. That's where we are. Boom. Megan gets the green box. She is your victor. What did you think of the pay-per-view as all? Do you think this was the best pay-per-view they've done this year, ever? Yes, no.
Ever is a bold statement.
Let's do of the year. Because this is their last pay-per-view of the year. There's been 4.
I mean, we were at All Out, and All Out was absolutely amazing. It was the first time CM Punk was actually wrestling in a ring, in 7 years. It had a lot of nostalgia there. It was an amazing event, but man, with the payoff of this, MJF and Darby Allin and CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, honestly, like all 3 of those matches were grade A, amazing matches. It's hard for me to disagree with anybody who says this is the best pay-per-view.
And I'm with you there. I know that I know my one of my fraternity brothers, Alex, and I were chatting after the show was over, and you're absolutely right. It's hard for us, being that we were live at one of them. No offense, Double or Nothing, Revolution were great. These two are the ones we're talking about. Okay, yeah. It's either All Out or it's Full Gear. Okay, so we were at All Out. So that's is that rose tinted glasses? Maybe, right? I don't know though, because you had probably the best tag team match I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
there was a bunch of other matches. You had a pretty damn good women's match. I would say it'd be on par with the Britt Baker match from Full Gear, maybe a little bit below. I think Tay Conti did a little bit better than Statlander.
I agree.
You also had a Battle Royal, which are always great to see. Casino Battle Royal. But then you had the return, so you had the big emotional investment with the CM Punk, plus all the big groundbreaking thing. Ruby Soho, Ruby, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, the holy shit moments. A different type of thing. So
if you're going from a wrestling standpoint, if you were asking, was this the best wrestling show? Yes. But is it the best show? Not necessarily, because that All Out had, like you said, all these oh my god moments, and the shock show, both Cole and Danielson show up within 5 minutes of each other. Like, it's insane. Like, that was insane. That was shock value and what it means for the company. But this pay-per-view was pure and artistic and storytelling galore, and it was a completely different style. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, do you like Budweiser or do you like Coors? Like, it was one of those things. Like, I mean, some people are Coors Banquet people, well, you know what I mean. Like,
well, I have a different analogy which you won't like.
Okay.
All Full Gear is the White Album, whereas All Out is Hard Day's Night. Yes, those are Beatles albums. I know. So White Album is highly considered as, and I know that Revolver gets some stuff, whatever. I'm not listening to you Revolver people right now. White Album is considered by a lot to be the best Beatles album, right? It's one of the best, if not the best. There would be no Beatles without Hard Day's Night. That is like what made it. And I make that analogy. I know it's not, maybe not the most direct, but All Out felt like the big statement. We're not just TNA 2.0. We're not just WCW light. We are here. We are legit. It was one of those pay-per-views that people will always be talking about because this is the moment from this all out on is kind of the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said watershed moments. That was it. This was like for the company. That's when they pivoted to from the 2-lane highway to the 6-lane, right? This is where we're going all out. Hey, look what I did there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a wrestling company, this is probably the better wrestling pay-per-view in total. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a right answer. I don't think you can say yes or no either way, to be truthful.
Exactly.
If I had to pick one, I would probably go with All Out. Just because of the big moments, like I said. And you wouldn't get this Full Gear if you didn't have that All Out.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not in the same capacity.
No, I agree. That's why I might give a slight edge to All Out. But again, like if somebody's like, "Oh, I like this," whatever the other one, I was like, "You're not wrong." Like it's one of those things. Like no matter how you look at it, you're not wrong. It's a win-win situation for AEW.
Yeah, you guys let us know what you think. And speaking of slight edges, as you see there, we've done it. There is a slight edge between the scores. We have a 9 to 8 to 7. Megan is the victor. Sidebar for a second, because we did pick a tiebreaker as we always did, and I was once again one match off either one of those. If I changed, my fortune would have been just a smidge different on one of those matches, Megan and I would have gone to a tiebreaker. Well, what was the tiebreaker, just for shits and giggles, JJ? I'm so glad you asked, because the tiebreaker was time for the Omega Page match. Now, we did this once again very judiciously. Everybody write down your things and show them all at the same time, right? So Megan chose 18 minutes and 22 seconds. Jamie, for whatever reason, is always within a few seconds of somebody. So he was at 18 minutes and 26 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And JJ went long. JJ had a good feeling this is going to be a longer match. I just feel it's too big of a story to tell in under 20 minutes. So I went 22-14.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't matter. But the match was 25 minutes and 11 seconds. So for the first time in God knows however long, I would have actually beaten Megan on a time, which I never do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But alas, congratulations to our champion, Megan Faulkner, for retaining her AEW championship belt.
Raiding. Defending.
She already defended. She's not defending. You got your grammar is off, Paul Heyman.
Undisputed.
I dispute all of this.
AEW pay-per-view champion, Megan Faulkner.
You know, for somebody who hates WWE as much as they do, you sure do pulling a lot of modern WWE references.
I love Paul. There's a difference.
Okay, all right.
I'm a Heyman guy. What can I say?
So, and ironically enough, we're going to be back next week with another one of these because SummerSlam is going on
Survivor
this weekend.
Series,
We will not.
Whatever.
I don't even know what the fuck it is. I just know it's for the belt that I have, and I have to defend it somehow. Spoiler alert: next week's show's not going to be nearly as long as this because Jamie's not watching it. I know that.
No. But the FWO will collect, and FWO will have all the belts. Every last belt will be in the FWO's hands.
Good for you. Megan still needs to win all 4 if you want that logo made.
Hey, the next TNA or whatever Impact one's right around the corner too.
Actually, it is not. It's in January. So we have TakeOver. Okay, so we have next weekend, we have Survivor Series. The first weekend of December is it's not even TakeOver anymore. NXT War Games.
War Games.
So we have NXT, and then January is, I can't remember what exactly it is. I think it's like the 8th or something. It's the first weekend in January, maybe the 4th. 4th, whatever. Early in January is the next Impact pay-per-view. Comes around. Well, let's see what happens. Can she do it? Can she get that New Year's logo made for you guys? I mean, it's possible. Or I could turn my fortunes around. I still got one belt right now. I still got a shot. So
we have 3 out of the 4.
You collectively, yes, you do.
We do.
But the bet, as you remember, was for an individual, not a faction.
We are the Borg. We are one. Yeah, Star Trek reference. Yeah, suck on that.
How did you? If you had Jamie Faulkner makes a Star Trek reference on your bingo board, you just won 2021 because, wow.
Jamie doesn't know much about Star Trek, but he knows about the Borg.
Jamie is a big Star Wars fan. I am too. Hello, Star Wars tattoo, right?
I got a lightsaber on my desk, so
we are going way off the rails here. Sure. So we're gonna call this a day. So you guys let us know what you thought of Full Gear. Give us your thoughts. Give us a comment. Give us a tweet. Give us a shout online. We will be back on Thursday with our regularly scheduled weekly vlog. We're going to go over the fallout from Full Gear. Lots of stuff going on in New Japan. There's a bunch of other news going on. It's one of those things around the big pay-per-views before and after. You seem to get everybody else going on with stuff. Mm-hmm. And news from Journey Pro.
Yay.
Lots and lots of great news from Journey Pro. So we'll be back on Thursday. Check us in for that. Next Tuesday, we'll have another little shorter version of this type of thing with our pay-per-view thing. And then every Thursday from there on out, like we said. So, Jamie, do you have anything else?
Nah, man, this was a great show. I'm glad that we got to talk about it and share it with everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. Jamie, go ahead and take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 2 words for you. And still.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Peace.